easy time in the mid if that's where he ends up.
Beastmaster won't get the bonus damage.
He's a melee here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's early. That's Twitch chat go easy. We haven't had much rest here.
You're right. I was thinking those ranged axes, you know, just throwing them around.
Bonus damage to the whirling axes, you know.
The boar, however.
The boar.
Yes, precision or a cast of the boar. That's what you want.
When activated.
That could actually be very powerful in the laning stage at some point if Beastmaster's going mid. Who knows?
Nice synergy is the Beastmaster aura with the Drow aura. It's a lot of push power, easy roach taking capabilities. That's where these two heroes have been picked together in the past with like stuff like Vengeful Spirit. I mean, Drow Beastmaster alone is pretty scary about it. Pushing single target focus fire with the Rage heroes, Rubik, Lesh, Drow. Focusing a hero that's being rolled up, easy kills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one of the things, Beastmaster, going for a Necronomicon, we've seen that very often, but there's now going to be a Chain Protector against him. So I really like that pick, actually. Makes Earthshaker offline. And I guess it is time for game number 1 of Rave versus Invasion. So, Zayora and Baseskip, take it away.
Alrighty, offlane Earthshaker, interesting. Glad to see that he's kind of transcending the scenes now, Baseskip. That was a sort of a niche strat that Yoki was doing quite a bit, and now it seems that everyone's picked up on how fun it can be.
Yeah, I mean, teamfight's just becoming more and more important, and when you've got a hero that has 3 stuns, all of a sudden it looks very, very attractive. So, yeah, I think the Earthshaker pick is definitely getting more love, but it's definitely deserved.
Yeah, agreed. I like it quite a bit. So, looking on the side of Rave, perhaps a safe lane try around Chrissy's Queen of Pain. I'll leave Shadow Fiend mid, and the offlane Earthshaker that we've already talked about. Invasion, how are they doing this setup here? Looks like Slicks will be on the Lesh. There you go. Quite possibly headed to the mid lane with offlane Beastmaster.
Yeah, looks about right. Beastmaster's just sitting in the offlane looking to block right now. Not a whole lot of contest going on for the bounty runes. Looks like it should just be one apiece for your mid laners pretty much. And Ryo gets spotted here up in the top lane. Does give a little bit of a hint to Boons as to the fact that there might be a ward around keeping an eye on things, but the Radiant ward is actually very defensively placed here, all the way kind of close to the tier 1 tower. It doesn't provide a ton of vision, but at least if you can see the Sand King off to the side, it gives him an opportunity to get out. Extinct, right on the money there. Finds the ward.
He has done some homework. Very nice. And now this Earthshaker will have a much more difficult time. The great thing about the offlane Earthshaker is that he can use that fissure to get some Creequilibrium going his way, similar to what Clockwork does, so he will find some experience, but with that ward down, he'll have to play back much further than he'd like.
Yeah, and it's a little bit scarier now as well for the mid lane. It's Shadow Fiend, he's fairly susceptible to ganks, especially against the Shrek, who's going to be keeping him kind of low, and if the Rubik or the Sand King find an opportunity to smoke over to mid, and I think that's a very straightforward kill. And Slicks giving it to Jo at the start here. He's not having a very fun time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask what you think about this matchup of Lesh versus Shadow Fiend in the mid. Seems like Slicks is having a pretty good time so far, and this is what he loves to do, this very aggressive style where he can find a little bit of an edge and just start bullying his opponent.
Yeah, this is crazy important for the Shrek as well here at the start against the Shadow Fiend. He doesn't really have any souls up just yet. He's now got his raise, but Slicks is preventing him from getting that little bit of early damage, and that means that whenever the Shrek mans up on him, the Shadow Fiend just has to run. At the moment, he can't fight him. Maybe once he gets level 2 raise, picks up a few more souls off the creep wave. I think Shadow Fiend's still a very stable mid, but it is definitely going to favor the Lesh here, at least initially.
Yeah, Tramp Protector. Global hero that'll help tip the scales a little bit if the Lesh gets very aggressive, but Invasion have some pretty decent tools to deal with that living armor. Lesh with the Diabolic Edict is a great one, and then on top of that you've got some Sandstorm action, just the extra units from the Beastmaster as well, really good for pushing against that living armor on towers.
Yeah, and wow, big battle coming up for this 2-minute rune. Jo in trouble. Oh, great
nice fissure. Yeah, beautifully placed. Blocks out 3, and it'll keep the Shadow Fiend alive. If he got telekinesis there, I think that's a dead Jo.
Yeah, I think if either disable had landed, that was probably the end of him.
So pretty quiet in the early game here. Both safe lane farmers getting what they need to. 13 CS apiece on the Queen Pain as well as the Drow Ranger.
Nothing too shocking happening just yet. Neither offlaner really getting a heck of a lot. Personally, I'm not actually a huge fan of offlane Beastmaster. It doesn't have that many ways to fight the supports. Doesn't really have that many ways to get reliable levels for himself. I mean, the Ancients are now not really an option for Beastmaster anymore after they changed the damage type on his axes. It takes a million axes to to clear a stack of Ancients, and it's just it just takes way too long, and so you can't really rely on that as your recovery mechanic. But they should hopefully just pick up between the Drow and Leshrac. They'll probably pick up some early towers, and that'll help to get the Beastmaster a little bit of gold.
What we've seen some teams do with the offlane Beastmaster is pick him with someone that can help clear Ancient, so he can stack them early on as he gets zoned out, Gyrocopter, those kind of heroes, and then they'll share the XP and split the farm just a little bit so that he can find that recovery. But he's doing okay. I believe he's level 3, so not too bad out of the gate. Lesh finds level 5, and he's actually almost 4. So mid lane still a bit in favor of the Leshrac, but Shadow Fiend's moved into the jungle, working those neutrals. One of the great things about the Radiant side Shadow Fiend, you've got that medium camp right there to get you some extra souls going.
Yeah, there's a couple things to keep in mind as well. The SF went for a pretty safe build here, didn't go for a Wraith Band or anything, just wanted his bottle up quite quickly, so that affected his early CS, especially since Slicks has the Null Talisman, and he's got the Precision Aura on top of it. So it's a more even lane matchup outside of that, but Invasion do have a couple of little edges for the Lesh.
Yeah.
And that rune got denied by the
by the boar. Yeah, I was just wondering what rune was that.
Yeah, it was a double damage. It didn't get picked up by Ninja Boogie. That was nicely played by Shaitan.
And you can see how much Invasion are prioritizing this mid lane here. Every rune spawn, both supports from the top lane, rotate down and make sure that Slicks can grab whatever it is that spawns up top. And they don't need to sit in the top lane because, I mean, what's the Earthshaker going to do against Drill Ranger? She can easily zone him out. And that is one of the weaknesses of that off lane Earthshaker. He has been rotating mid a bit to try and help Jo, but so far it feels like the Earthshaker has not had a huge impact. And oh boy, the SEA server Dota begins here, Basekip.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're probably going to see a little bit of this as almost everyone on Invasion is disconnecting out right now. That is not good to see, but they'll hopefully be back.
I mean, they lost all their packets, Cameron. They got to go find them before they can continue.
Go find them. I don't mind the Earthshaker spending a lot of time sort of keeping an eye over mid lane because I feel the Shadow Fiend is ridiculously important this game for Rave. They really need their mech up to be able to take any kind of early fights against Invasion, and Invasion's lineup is going to get active pretty early on, and especially against, say, the Sand King's AoE damage, the Leshrac AoE damage. You do really want that mech to be able to get fighting, especially since they've got the sort of the Lion, Earthshaker, and the Train Protector, who are good, but I feel can be a little bit questionable in the early game, especially with the way that this Train Protector is being played thus far. He's just kind of chilling on bottom lane. He's running pulls and pulls through. A lot of Train Protector play that we've seen in the past has been boots first, running around, trying to set up kills, but they haven't found those opportunities just yet. And yeah, I do really worry for that kind of 9-minute to 16 minutes mark, say, you know, kind of arbitrary points, but I feel like that's where Invasion are going to start knocking down tier 1 towers and really starting to build momentum as that Drow Ranger lineup.
Yeah, some of it revolves around the level 6 on the Beastmaster, just so they have a keen initiation tool to get things started. But that is one weakness of this Rave draft, is that both both Treant as well as the Lion need a lot of XP. They both want to hit level 6 in a pretty timely manner, and until they find those ultimates, their team composition is really not so synergistic.
Yeah, the other thing for Rave is that they are somewhat mediocre at pushing towers. So if Invasion ever get into a position where they're barreling down a lane towards a tier 1, say, it's quite difficult for Rave to say, okay, they're pushing our bottom tier 1, we're not in position, let's try and take their mid tier 1. It's just that Invasion pushed that much more quickly, so we could end up seeing Rave getting maneuvered into some really difficult situations where they think, okay, we can trade here, and then Invasion knock down the tier 1 ridiculously quickly and then bring the Beastmaster back or the Sand King back to be able to defend and catch somebody and still hold on to their tier 1 tower. So Rave are going to have to be very careful about that, and it's always extremely important how you pick your fights against these Drow Ranger lineups.
Yeah, given how passive this early game has been, I feel like that first 5-man push is going to be very important in terms of which team defends it and which team makes it happen. We've seen these Drow Ranger lineups really get a lot of momentum early on, and that's when you need to execute.
Yeah, and I think Drow Ranger in general, as much as this is the first game that we've seen and it got picked relatively late, is probably still going to be quite a big pick here in SEA. I think Invasion probably going to look towards it quite a bit, especially since, as we were talking about during the pre-show, Slicks loves to run Windrunner on mid, and she's probably one of the most synergistic heroes when it comes to Drow Ranger, so I think definitely expecting to see that kind of strategy out of Invasion if they can get it a little bit later on.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So things holding steady here. At least we've resumed. Looks like Invasion found their lost packets, and they're ready to continue on. Mid lane still very even, and this is the opposite of what we predicted for the SEA region with all those early ganks and rotations. About 5.5 minutes in, and both teams have been rather quiet, just trying to get their farm on.
Yeah, Cass has actually managed to get some really good levels. I think he's been quite successful with pulling and pulling through, maybe even all the way through to the big camp. Looks like Sand King's clearing out the jungle a little bit at this stage. So yeah, Boons is up to level 4 here, about 900 gold. And I think that's a decent start for him as the jungle goes. I think he's setting up another stack right this second, so that's looking okay. And Invasion are actually stacking up these Ancients.
Like we talked about, not the easiest composition in terms of killing them, but here we go. Ninja Boogie in some trouble. Or is it Slicks that's on the run? First blood comes out. It'll be Jo that gets it. They'll try to turn it around onto NB, but he makes it away. Now it's Extinct that's on the run. Jo will chase him down. Fissure from up top locks him in place, and it's a double kill for the Nevermore.
Well, that was perfect for Rave. The stick charges keep the Lion alive. They get the double kill on the Shadow Fiend, and we were just talking about how important the Shadow Fiend is for their overall game plan and being able to fight off Invasion, and he's now now looking really good. Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy with how things are going. Yeah,
he gets a lot out of that. So, all right, Beastmaster, he's slowly but surely putting those wild axes to good use. That is a big Ancient stack. What is that, a 4 stack now at least? That's a big fatty there.
Yeah, does look like it. Again, it's still going to take him an eternity to clear, but he's at least starting it out. And the pings come out from Rave. They're not all that impressive at taking it either, but they could just come in and fight for it as soon as it starts to get low. I mean, they're all the scary thing.
Down to about half health, and exactly right. Both teams are really terrible at clearing Ancient stacks, actually. Wild Axes are about the best ability they've got. Cast is just going to linger nearby, and
you can Sonic Wave them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can Sonic Wave the...
And, oh my god, that could be so scary if Beastmaster gets them all down to like
Quap gets all of them.
A quarter health. And then the Queen of Pain comes in and just Sonic Waves the whole thing.
Yeah, I almost...
Oh my god.
My mind almost went to, that's not worth the Sonic Wave, but if you can get every single Ancient, it is beyond worth it for that first Sonic Wave.
Most of the time your first Sonic Wave is like, oh yeah, a singleton kill. I think it's totally worth it.
They know exactly what's going on here. They're all so low. He'll get a few of them, but now they rotate onto Shaitan. He's in a lot of trouble. Hexed up, brought down. Easy kill for Chrissy. Just drop the Sonic Wave. This is you. Oh, mama. He's just going to auto attack.
They're all and they're all like 1 or 2 auto attacks from at least the small ones.
This is so dangerous. I really think they should just finish him off.
Oh my god, they pop back as well.
Jo, he's coming in now. It's a battle for the Ancient. Slicks, he's on the run. He takes a Leech Seed. He'll turn, tries to throw the stun. Connects on 2. Connects on 2 from the Burrow Strike as well. Queen of Pain as well as Lion, both dead. Now Jo on the run. It looks like Invasion will find a successful defense here on their Ancients. Split Earth off the mark as Jo tries to head for the hills. Gets himself a level 3 living armor, and he will live. All right, Invasion hold.
Well, that's the name of the game, right? Defense of the Ancients.
That's true.
So they hold on to them. They've got most of the big Ancients still there. They are going to clear them out. Earthshaker didn't get involved at all, so he's getting some decent farm up on top, but
that's true.
Rave do end up losing a few heroes.
That is the big disparity there. Invasion, they had to buy back 1 at this stage.
They had to bring everyone.
Very cheap. They rotated everyone, and Ryo all of a sudden is level 6. And he'll have a Soul Ring coming out in just a couple of creep kills.
Yeah, and like we were talking about at the opening of the game, Earthshaker is a very scary teamfight hero, and if he's getting off to a good start, that could really throw the spanner in the works for the Invasion.
I mean, there's no doubt that a core Shaker or a Shaker with some farm can really have an impact in a game. The difficulty is getting in that farm, and in this situation, he's certainly finding it. And it's taking him a while to kill the Ancients here. I feel like Shaitan stacking them so much early on is... I mean, who really found the victory there when it's all said and done? Would you call it a break even?
No, I think it's Invasion. I mean, they got the... Yeah, they lost a lot on the Beastmaster dying and having to buy back, but at least they got the Ancients and they got those 2 kills out of it. Of course, the Earthshaker farm tips things back the opposite direction somewhat, but... I do think it's still slightly Invasion favored overall.
Yeah. It was a nice heads-up play to buy back this early on. You don't really see that too often, but often cost-effective as it is just so cheap at these low levels.
Yeah, and I think it's especially more. I think people need to be shifting how they're using buyback now, especially after the recent changes. It's less about buying back and getting kills for yourself and cleaning up a fight, and more about buying back and being ready to help your team win the ensuing fight. And that's the kind of situation that we saw from the Beastmaster there. He bought back so that he could join the other 4 people on his squad to go and hold on to those Ancients.
But now we see the 5-man begin. Invasion all grouped up in the mid lane, smoked around the tier 1 tower. Sand King gets a 10.5-minute blink dagger. Really solid timing on that. And now they'll try to put it to good use. Jo may be in some trouble here. Gust will be off the mark, but Slick starts things off with a lightning storm. Jo will channel the Requiem in the tree line, but does he have any support on the way? Only the global living armor, and it's just not enough. But the backside, the Drill Ranger, Shadow Fiend have gone down. They've got the Rubik as a consolation, but Ryo, he's in the middle of the fray. Ooh, Slicks, he's in too deep, and the rotations from Rave will finish him off. Now it's Shaitan that's hexed up, in trouble, and well, the initial 5-man of Invasion seems to be a bit of a backfire. They get the high-priced Shadow Fiend, but boy, does it come at a cost.
Shadow Fiend juked them so nicely there, and I think he even... Did he get the Requiem off? I think he...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did manage to get it off even with the stun coming in, so... Yep.
He did really well.
Still stands, they get the 4 kills. Yeah, that was great. And Rave just reacting perfectly. They brought everybody. The living armor was there. Cast a little bit of trouble here.
He is silenced. No living armor to keep him alive. And that'll be an easy pick on the Treant Protector. Drill Ranger putting that Mask of Madness to good use. Yeah. Battle for Vision here in the mid lane as sentries come out. They'll kill a full duration Observer Ward. It's pretty big for Invasion, actually.
And they're just, oh, they're somewhat hammering the mid. They've split up a little bit into the other lanes as well. Slicks is off farming top. And they sent the Beastmaster down to bottom. Yeah, and like you're saying, really good Blink Dagger timing here for the Sand King. He's probably going to have to pick up a smoke soonish and maybe look for another gank. I think it has been revealed that he's got the Blink, but we haven't really seen that first big kill out of him just yet. They don't have very aggressive vision. I think they do have the 1 ward over by the Radiant Secret Shop, but that's about it. And that does seem to suggest that they might be looking for this top tier 1 instead of looking for that mid tier 1 as heavily. Sort of pick up the freebie tower instead of going for the one that is going to be much more hotly contested. Since Rave do want to keep access to their jungle secure because they can get a lot of farm out of it between the Queen of Pain and the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, many aspects of this game still relatively even, but it's this mid lane disparity that's really looking scary. The Shadow Fiend 50% ahead of the Lesh in terms of net worth. Slicks 0, 2, and 3, now struggling a little bit. He's been forced to pick up a Bracer alongside his Null Tally, just getting some baseline of stats now so he can try and survive these next few fights. He does have some decent experience, but I think they really need Slicks to start working on a core item. I mean, if he was really dominating in the mid, he could have some decent progression towards the Bloodstone, and right now that's just not the case.
Yeah, Invasion are pretty squishy in general as well, so the Lesh is going to be on the front lines a lot.
Ryo initiated on, in some trouble, but Cast is there, throws out the ulti. That'll lock Invasion in place. Nice stun from Ninja Boogie, finger to bring down the Sand King. Slicks gets killed as well. Another way around, kills the Lesh, but 2-0, and Invasion shut down once again. Rave really getting a lot of momentum now.
Yeah, they're defending these tier 1 towers perfectly. They've got the Earthshaker there, they had the mech ready, and the Rubik threw the Earthshaker back into the Rave team. That may have been after he realized, oh man, they're coming in to counter-initiate this. Let's just make sure that we can get everybody out safely. But
Chrissy silent as well as Primal Roar in the bottom lane. Maybe a pinch of overkill. They overlap it a bit, but much needed. That ends a killing spree, and it is the Drow Ranger that gets credit for that one. Nice 500 gold bounty going to her, and they will deny that tier 1 tower in the bottom lane.
So we've got... This is scary.
A TP in as well. Rave are so ready for this. Jo giving them all the vision that they need. He's got the invisibility rune on. He also has the mech ready to rock and roll. Fissure to break up the fight as Slicks goes charging in. Earth Spike from the Lion as well, but Jo, he's taking a lot of tower shots here. He will mech early on. Invasion start to split, and no kill will come out.
Didn't quite get the coordination between the lift and the splitter there, unfortunately.
But all the while, Invasion, sneaky, moving into the Roche Pit. Double bore as well as the Mask of Madness on the Drow. Makes this pretty easy, and looks like Invasion will find themselves an Age to the Immortal uncontested at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, they do end up handing it over to the Drow, which I find a little bit surprising. I thought they were going to consider giving it to the Lesh, especially since, again, they're relatively squishy on the whole. I feel like they need to be ahead on items for the Lesh to actually be able to tank through anything, and he's kind of behind right now, but still needs to be on the front lines for a lot of these fights, so I thought they would end up giving the Aegis over to him, but it's like a slightly different plan here for Invasion.
Lesh is in that Storm Spirit echelon in terms of Aegis carriers, with his very short cooldowns. Very spammable, very mana dependent, and also kind of a frontliner, often an initiator, so I agree. Very good Aegis carrier just in general, and particularly in the context of this game, but some of it I think they just wanted to grab the Aegis as quickly as possible, as that was a rather risky Roche, to be honest.
Yeah, risky, but I think they need it. Yeah, they did need it somewhat. They were down by like 3k gold, 3k experience, I think, after losing those last couple of fights, and they're going to bring things sort of closer back to even after that Roshan.
Surprisingly even, actually. I thought the disparity would be a little bigger than that, but Invasion showing a sign of life here as they split push the bottom lane. This Mask of Madness has really been working well for the Drow Ranger. She's just been pushing around, taking objectives, and makes her life a lot easier. But Rave, they'll try and get some towers of their own. The Glyph comes out. J.O. committing pretty deep for it. Boons comes in, sets up the stun for Slicks, and now J.O. getting punished quite hard. Slicks almost dies to the Death Requiem, but does find the kill. And meanwhile, Lion will finish off the Rubik. Drow Ranger gets the tier 2 in the bottom lane, and Invasion will find the better of this back and forth. They can deny that tier 1 mid, and they will also defend the tier 1 up top, which will be denied. So there should be all 3 tier 1 towers from Invasion that have been denied. That is impressive.
Yeah, that's really good economic damage towards Rave. They're a little bit less reliant, I think, overall than Invasion are on the tower gold for their lineup. So it doesn't hurt them necessarily as much, but of course still really nicely played there by Invasion. Yeah. And they still got this Aegis up for a little bit longer, so they might be able to gear up for another tier 1 tower. Now that they don't really have any left of their own, it does make it very difficult for Rave to try and trade anything. So the only decision that they can really make is whether or not they want to go and try and defend. It looks like they are going to smoke up and make an attempt at it here. They've got the Orchid up on the Queen of Pain, notably, so I think if she can find either the Beastmaster or the Sand King in this next fight, that could be really big.
Yeah, pretty good timing on that, but maybe more impressive, the Earthshaker has a Blink Dagger secured.
Wow.
So
Fryo's having a hell of a game.
Yeah, I mean, just look at his net worth. He's up there with the Sand King. And
they didn't deny mid. I mean, they had the Glyph reset because they denied top.
Yeah,
so I think they might have been trying to...
Bit of a misplay.
Yeah, I think they were hoping that they could bait something else on that tier 1 mid, but yeah, Queen of Pain just blinks in and auto attacks at once, and down it goes.
Yeah, that's the problem. If it has a couple if it can take a few shots and then you can glyph and come in for the deny, that's one thing, but it was so low that there's no way you can really react to it. Somebody can just wander by and finish her off, so not the end of the world. Lesh is getting some recovery now as a completed soul booster, so Slicks is on the up and up, and that disparity we talked about before is at least smaller than it was. J.O. with 2,200 gold. We'll see what he picks up after the mech. Could be an okay Blink Dagger game, and, well, there it is. Seems that J.O. agrees.
Yeah, well, they've got Blink on the SF and the Earthshaker that we haven't really seen shown off just yet. Rise is going to get scouted here by the ward sitting by the secret shop, so Invasion do know what's going on as the Blink Dagger goes, but definitely need to show it some respect. And Invasion, just everyone up here on top lane, couple of heroes smoked. We've got the BKB on the Drow Ranger now and the Aegis, so this seems like a decent time to take a fight, but they have to position correctly around the Drow, ideally.
Now the Hawk gets taken out by Ninja Boogie, so perhaps Rave a little suspicious that there could be some action coming this way. Dire will put a ward down right in range of the Sentry. They definitely know that a push is about to break out, and probably suspicious that Invasion have some reinforcements hiding in the tree line here. Another Hawk will fly over the opposite side and try and get some intel for the team, but again, Ninja Boogie misses the stun, it looks like, but on point with trying to deal with this Hawk.
Yeah, but it is giving Invasion a lot of information. They see that almost everybody is here from Rave, and that does signal pretty clearly that they're looking to take a fight here. I mean, Tiki comes in, a little bit more back and forth. Invasion trying to get this without committing, so they might be able to.
20 minutes in, we've got a 5-on-5 in the top lane. Both teams playing the game of chicken here, baiting with their cores and waiting for the other to make a misstep.
Aegis is down actually now, so that's That might be Invasion actually having to back off and go for something else. Yes, Slick's already TPing down to the bottom lane. They don't want to take a 5-on-5 without that Aegis advantage right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Invasion, they don't finish off the tower, so now the Treant Protector can just heal it up as he is without living armor.
Oh man, that just turned out to... So that was not a total waste of time, but a total stalemate. Both teams just sitting up there staring at one another. And that tower's going to be healed. But Rave doing a good job of holding onto their side of the map. Bottom lane has been opened up a lot, so Invasion can potentially make their way down into the Radiant jungle and grab a little bit of farm there. But it's going to take I think, a warding expedition first. I think they've got one ward behind sort of the tier 1 tower mid lane, but that one's about to fade, and they do need to try and go and get some more vision out on the map. So probably combined smoke gank plus get some good opportunistic wards down is the next big play for Invasion here.
Well, Rave are smoked up, and looks like they want to wrap around into the Dire jungle, but I'll be disappointed to find no one there as Invasion are busy dealing with their Ancients and just protecting the Drow Ranger. This is some serious 5-man Dota. Both teams want to fight, but only on their own terms, and it's created this kind of odd 5v5 around the map where they're just moving as units, but not really engaging into one another.
Yeah, the initiation on both sides is getting really scary now. Blink Dagger on Shadowfiend and Earthshaker, along with the Queen of Pain being able to jump in. An invasion between the Sand King and the Beastmaster.
Is there a blink up on the Beastmaster?
I don't think there's a blink on the Beastmaster. He was going for a mech.
Oh, you went mech, okay.
Yeah, so...
Still a great team fight item. Much needed to deal with the mech on the Shadow Fiend.
But yeah, I think he can kind of just follow up for the Sand King, ideally, but... Even if you've got 3 heroes sitting underneath the tier 1 tower and the initiation comes in, the burst damage from either side is to the point where the duration of a TP scroll is too long to actually make it and turn the fight. So I think that sort of explains a little bit why both teams are 5-manning so much.
Rave finds a victory here with the tier 2 in the top lane, and they have the advantage of that living armor to buy themselves time on the mid tier 1. Maybe they get a deny here. No, the Mask of Madness on Drow Ranger makes things a bit easier. Cast looking for the overgrowth initiation, but can't find it, and the team fighting stalemate continues as they trade 1 for 1. Tier 2 up top for the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, I'm just checking Invasion's inventories for anti-invis at the moment because this the Nature's Guys from the Treant Protector they've got us to be
a sentry on Rubik, and I think that's
a singleton sentry, and I think they've got a dust on the Sand King as well.
Yeah, there you go.
So a little bit here and there, but if you get caught out by the Nature's Guys even once, and that could be really game-breaking here.
Yeah.
So gonna have to watch out.
Drow Ranger still has a lot of momentum, holding on to that net worth seat, feeling pretty comfortable, and now has a Manta style completed. That recipe on the way via the Courier. Very well-rounded build here. Great mix of damage as well as survivability.
Yeah, still not crazy tanky, so I think the Sonic Wave especially is gonna give the Drow Ranger a pretty hard time. And the other problem for Invasion is that they're still not great at being initiated on. I feel like for Rave, if you jump somebody, there's going to be a Fisher to come initiate, the living armor comes in, the mech is there to help out, and you can potentially save someone from Invasion, but on the Invasion side, as soon as someone gets jumped, your best counter initiation is Sand King jumping in with the Burst Strike, and that's about it. So as much as the Drow Ranger has a bunch of farm and a bunch of items, Rave can probably still bring her down without too many problems.
Yeah, and Slicks on the Leshrac is still very underfarmed. He did manage to complete a Bloodstone, still sitting on the 8 charges, but 22-minute Bloodstone is very far from the average, and good that he's been able to recover some, but he still needs to be very cautious. And
it is definitely the beginning of a recovery because Bloodstone is such an amazing farming item on these heroes that can just turn mana into damage like Leshrac and Storm Spirit. So he should be able to accelerate his farm from this point forward. They are 5-manning quite a bit, and I think he's a little bit afraid to necessarily go and clear out the Dire jungle. I mean, you can just look at it right now. We're past the 30-second mark. Invasion are all sitting sort of over off to the eastern side, and it's actually going to be Rave who come in and take a little bit of advantage of those camps.
Well, all this passivity has just increased the volatility of these initiators. You were talking about how both sides have a lot of initiation and counter-initiation tools, and Rave will grab one more. Blink Dagger up on Ninja Boogie's Lion.
Oh, man.
He's ready to Hex initiate here. Roshan has Respawn. You see Invasion very eager to do something around the pit. Radiant should have some kind of vision around this quadrant of the map, but it looks like the map is sort of dark in general. Not too many wards down from either side. And yeah, actually, they're
at
pretty
the moment,
dark.
Yeah, pretty defensively placed wards. The Dire have, well, both teams actually have a lot of sentry wards placed at the moment, just trying to stay under cover of fog and avoid initiation from the other side.
Yeah, Invasion do have the advantage around the Roche pit, not only being Dire, but because of that Beastmaster, they have the floating ward and the Hawk that give them some vision, but you can tell they're respecting the rotations of Rave and not just charging right into the pit to get this next Aegis. I like that they're being a little more cautious about this. Also a smart play to try and bait with the Lesh here in the mid lane, while the rest of the team moves towards the pit. Smoked up as well.
This is super sneaky, but it's really dangerous as well because the Lesh might be isolated from the rest of the team, and Rave's coming in right now.
Good positioning from Slicks. He's already on his way over. Roche still very healthy, but Invasion, they reacted just in the nick of time, and they will not get caught in a bad position. Though Ninja Boogie gets an invisibility rune.
It was scouted by a Dire observer, so they should know what's going on here, and
this is almost
have to be careful. Yeah,
it's almost worse for the Lion.
I think it's
so
worse.
Yeah,
it's a false sense of security for sure. Ninja Boogie has to be very careful.
There's an absurd amount of sentries on the ground right now. I mean, look at this, completely covered. Oh, here we go. Initiation. They go right in onto Chrissy. Oh my, do they turn that around on the Sand King Requiem as well as the Echo Slam. Shaitan on the front lines with a Sonic Wave, connects on 3. Now Slick's on his way over. Treant Protector drops the ultimate. They will bring down the Shadow Fiend, but now they turn on to Slick. Ninja Boogie comes around the side, drops the finger, sets it up for the Queen of Pain as Chrissy comes in. Things looking a little bit rough for Invasion. It's a 2 for 3, but Chrissy cleaning it up. Slick's doing big damage with the Pulse Nova. He's the only one left alive. They don't have the damage to bring him down. He is blocked out, but I don't know that it makes a difference here. Will they reinitiate? Slick's a bit low on mana. There's the Orchid that comes out, can't toggle the Pulse Nova. He will. Bloodstone Suicide. Very nicely played, but in the end, it's a 2 for 5, and of course, Rave get the advantage.
Did manage to get the Epicenter off there. Really nicely played by Ryo, just dropping the Echo Slam on the Sand King's head to prevent that from happening. And I think it's a very different team fight if the Epi lands, but the other big thing was that the Shadow Fiend managed to get his BKB off, so it looks like the Invasion initiation was just disjointed by a couple of seconds. If they'd had the Roar immediately after the Burrow Strike, I think you burst down the Shadow Fiend with less problems, especially since there's so much magical damage from the Lesh, but yeah, that doesn't end up working out really all that nicely for Invasion, and they don't really have an obvious play at the moment. They can, again, try and smoke and try and run through the Radiant Jungle, maybe look for a pick-off, and then go back first. But I don't think they're going to get this without a fight, though. Shatan's already over in the pit, and looks like everybody is just running over there at the moment. Jaro's all the way over at top, and he did TP up here. It's going to take him a little while to get over to the pit. He does have his Blink Dagger to speed him somewhat.
I don't know if Rave can actually contest this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is very smart for Invasion. No vision for Rave.
Rave could still just fight afterwards. They're going to double damage on their Shadow Fiend now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's on Chrissy.
Yeah.
But never mind. It looks like either they don't know or they're just going to give it up.
I would say it's the former. They've got no vision in that area, and with the Shadow Fiend TPing up top.
Yeah, they don't have a Sonic Wave. They don't have an Echo Slam at the moment, and they don't
have the finger either.
Yeah, they're a little bit more cooldown dependent than Invasion are, so I think that's definitely a factor that comes into play here. And they were pretty successful in waiting out, or stalling out rather, the previous Aegis, so I might just be looking to do that again.
Yep. Blink Dagger did also come out on the Lush rack, so Slick's still not the tankiest, but all he really seemed to need in that last fight was the Bloodstone, and now he has some way to initiate as well as find an escape if he can juke in the tree line. So I like the mobility tool here to go with the power treads that don't give you the most mobility relative to something like phase boots, which are also pretty common on the Lesh.
Yeah,
Earthshaker with a Force Staff now, just massive farm on this guy.
His counter initiation is honestly, it might just be too good. Invasion probably needs to just scout out the Earthshaker with the Hawk and jump on him at the beginning of the fight if they can, or if not jump in and kill the Earthshaker, at least have one of their heroes blink in and just auto attack him so that he can't go and blink and fissure and and counter whatever other initiation they're going for. It's a really hard play to coordinate, of course. You say, okay, the 3 of us are going in on the Shadow Fiend, and this is the chain stun rotation, and okay, Beastmaster, can you go and try and find Earthshaker and put a bore on him and make sure that he can't blink and ruin our day? And it honestly feels like Raya at this point can just deal with everything that Invasion are looking to do.
Well, Rave seem to agree with you here, my friend, as they are moving on up towards the high ground. They clear out a creep wave, and they will back up, maybe a little premature. Invasion weren't really in the best position to defend. They're moving into a tier 2 tower in the top lane, and they could have afforded to stick around and just do a little more chip damage at that tier 3, but they'll play it safe, go for the easy tower, and that's the tier 2 here in the mid lane. They'll go down, and well, a matter of seconds it seems. It is glyphed up. Invasion on the way in. Maybe they can get denied here. It's about the best they can hope for. Initiation on the Jo. Slipshots into the follow-up, but Rave is right there. Huge AoE damage all over Invasion. The Shadow Fiend will end up going down, but he channels the Requiem before he falls. Chrissy with the BKB on will battle the BKB Drow Ranger. Buyback now from the Beastmaster. A 1 for 3, and Rave are happy enough to retreat and not give that Beastmaster anything off the back end of that buyback.
Yeah, that was really nicely executed by Rave. I mean, they got 2 tier 2s. I think they traded a tier 1, and that fight also went fantastically. Got the buyback out of the Beastmaster, and things are not looking good for Invasion at all at this stage.
Beastmaster is very eager to buy back this game. It's the second buyback we've seen in 30 minutes from just him. I think he's the only person that's bought back.
Yeah, I don't think he got anything off in that fight. Just got initiated on, no roar, no mech, and just figured that they might have been able to find another Burrow Strike or something, but
yeah,
not the case.
Oh my, look at that net worth graph, and you see the benefits of that last fight here coming into play for Rave. Not really the fight as much as the tower gold on top of that. So Invasion now out of access points around the map. All of their outer towers have been taken out, and Rave hanging on to their 2 remaining tier 2 towers. Aegis on Slicks, 3,200 gold.
Yeah, he is catching up on farm, at least.
How do you think he should be itemizing here? I mean, I'm always a fan of Shivas after something like the Bloodstone because Lesh is a relatively low armor hero.
I think he still just needs BKB, honestly. It's just...
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think that the amount of initiation power that Rave has is just too much. And even though there are some things that will go through the BKB, there are a lot of things that it will nullify.
And it just helps to stop the counter initiation as well. You can go blinking in, pop BKB, and all of a sudden you don't care about the official counter initiation unless it's played.
Oh my, Jo could have been just a little bit lucky there as the creep wave was about to expire and just blinking back right as Invasion come in, but just barely dodges that Burrow Strike.
The boar came out of the fog.
Is that the board did seem kind of close. If that's the case, then that's just a misplay from Invasion.
Yeah, I think it was like, oh man, why is this boar here? Yeah, it could just be scouting, but at this stage, especially when you're not really seeing anyone on the map, when you're Rave, it's like, oh, okay, this is too close for comfort. Yeah, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, especially with the creep wave dying like that. Just poor timing from Invasion. Now, the Drow Ranger does pick up a Scotty, and I like this choice here. Just gives her some nice beefy stats, 2,500 HP, and you mentioned earlier, still not that tanky. Now, I think she fits the bill on that front.
Yeah, now definitely looking quite a bit more survivable. Should just be able to stand and lay into people in these team fights, but I feel like WTF as well has done pretty well thus far in terms of getting his BKB off and arriving at the right time in these fights. He hasn't been focused, but as I say that, he's going to get jumped, and down he'll go. Picked up the Scotty, bit of a misstep, and Rave are going to find him. And that's 60 seconds dead. He doesn't have a buyback either. He bought out for the...
Wow. Yeah, he's high level. His buyback is super expensive here. He has like 1,500 gold or so, but still short by a fair bit.
They don't even have a glyph. They do have a pretty good high ground defense team between the axes and the...
And they have the Aegis on Slicks, so they do have a little bit of an extra edge here where the Lesh can afford to be very aggressive.
How much longer is that even there, though?
Sure. Can we check the Roche Pit very quickly before this fight breaks out?
It's already gone, actually.
Okay, it just expired before this fight. I take that back. Jo hops in, BKB on, channels the Requiem, connects on most of Invasion. Chrissy follows up, brings down the Beastmaster. He won't have a buyback here. Epicenter gets channeled, but feels a bit lackluster from Boons. Gets a stun onto Jo, but force stab back. Nicely played by Ryo. Invasion trying to repel Rave. Pretty successful thus far. They repel, but it does come at a cost.
Yeah, so losing the Beastmaster, but I think Invasion definitely going to be happy with how that ended up playing out. And Rave are just looking for more kills overall. I think when they jump straight in like that, kind of took a couple of shots from the tier 4, but managed to disengage cleanly. So not the worst for them end of the day, and should just be able to go back to farming, pick up some more items, and look to make another attempt.
It looks like Chrissy considering a Scythe of Ice pickup with that ultimate orb and closing on in, basically just a Void Stone away unless he wants to pool for buyback. This Quap is...
That only makes the initiation scarier. Things are not looking good for Invasion at the moment. I just want to check out if they... So they don't have a smoke in store for about 4 minutes. I get the feeling that there might not be any in inventories at the moment either. No, so the opportunities to make plays for Invasion at the moment are somewhat limited. They're going to be picking up a gem to reclaim a little bit of control over their side of the map, but yeah, still not going to give them an opportunity to go running over onto the Radiant side and get anything done there. I really
oh my god,
Glimmer Cape on the Earthshaker as well.
I was going to say, I love the way he's itemizing here. If Blink Dagger Force Staff weren't enough to initiate and then get back out, now you've got a Glimmer Cape, and that should secure you some survivability.
How do you jump on anyone from Rave here if you're Invasion?
Even more evidence to that point is the now Linken's on Queen of Pain, not going for the Scythe as I was suspecting, but nice defensive item pickup here.
And this just makes Shadow Fiend a god. You can put the Linkens on him, you can be sitting there ready to blink in, force blink in from infinite range away, and put the Glimmer Cape on him. He's now the siege engine for this Rave team.
And so much disengage. You've got Lion who can blink Hex to whoever's the target on him, then you've got the Treant who even through BKB can still drop the, well, not only living armor, but the overgrowth to stop them in their tracks. And yeah, I agree. If everything goes the way that Rave wants and they're there with all of their resources to protect the Shadow Fiend, I don't see how it could die. At least not early on in the fight.
And oh god. Give me a second. I'm dying over here.
Uh-oh.
Alright, okay, sorry about that. Anyway, so I feel like the big reason that Rave find themselves in this amazing position that they're in is just that they played the early game so well. It does come back also somewhat, I think, to the double kill on the Shadow Fiend to really get the ball rolling there, but I feel like they also read Invasion's intentions nicely and sort of countered at the right moments. They had with that dive on mid where Invasion went in looking for kills, but they only got the 1 and they got turned around as 4. They picked up the Aegis and they went for that push on the top tier 1, but Rave also went and stalled them out there, and yeah, Invasion just really haven't been able to play their game here, and at this stage looks like just gonna continue farming up their side of the map, maybe try and go for another smoke once they have one in stock. That might be around the time that Roshan is going to be respawning, and that could be the next big opportunity for them, potentially.
Yeah, about a minute and a half here for the Dire, and you're right, those times will coincide pretty closely, just about 30 seconds or so until Roche comes back up. Earthshaker closing in on level 16. The Echo Slam already been a key facet to the team fight of Rave, but it'll be that much more potent once he gets that next level. Both teams beginning to dance around the Roche pit. Invasion holding the high ground on the Dire side, utilizing their advantage pretty nicely, as we see Rave with a 5-figure lead in both net worth as well as XP.
Yeah, they are just so farmed. And what else can I actually do here? Earthshaker is sitting invis over in these trees. Just gonna force staff himself down onto the low ground. Rave splitting up on the map as Invasion start pressuring towards bottom lane somewhat, but they're gonna get both top and mid into a good position, and the lane position is always really what matters when it comes to fighting off Roshan and being able to contest for the pit. So Rave setting themselves up pretty decently on that front. And again, the Shadow Fiend has so much backing him up at this stage that I feel that Rave could even start taking a couple of pot shots towards the high ground if they're feeling really confident.
Yeah, Rave are just looking for the opening here, using that Nature's Guise instead of smokes, hoping someone from Invasion will head into the high ground, but at this point, it's not so sneaky. It's been Rave all over that Dire jungle, it feels like, all game, so Invasion will not be foolish enough to head up into that dark territory, even though it's generally considered a safe spot of the map for them.
And Shadow Fiend has a bunch more gold, 3.4k, so next item on the way for him. Looks like he's just going to be picking up a Butterfly, which is going to help a lot against the Drow. He's not really too worried about the Lesh either. I think BKB probably still. Let's just have a look. Actually, how long does he have as BKB?
You
7
have the
seconds.
power. Yeah, there you go.
7-second BKB remaining for the Shadow Fiend. So Lesh still not all that scary for him, and Invasion just kind of hovering on Roshan at the moment. They've probably scouted things out with the Hawk, and now they just have to hope that they can somehow pick this one up. They really need the Aegis if they're gonna sort of start to get things back on track this game.
Absolutely. Still, both teams just being so cautious here. Game number 1, the opening match of the SEA TI5 qualifier. A lot of respect on both sides of the coin as we see them do this dance around the map. And also both teams just respecting the volatility of the game at this state. 40 minutes in, a team wipe means you're losing some objectives. Your base is going down, and you're certainly going to lose this. And this is Roche 3, so Aegis Cheese up for the taking. Uh-oh.
This is Invasion's one smoke. This is... I mean, I don't want to put too much emphasis on saying it's all in or anything like that, but this is ridiculously important for them right now.
Smoke on smoke action here, Kip. They're both going to rotate towards the Roche pit. Oh, this could be explosive. Who's going to find the initiation here? Shaitan moving in to smoke the break at just about the same time. They jump right on top of him. BKB's used. They bring him down with a finger, and Sonic Wave beautifully placed by the Queen of Pain. Overgrowth comes out of cast, and Invasion lose 2 straight away. The Lion just barely lives. A dust gets popped, and now Boons in more than a bit of trouble. A 1-for-4 trade. It's Invasion that get blown up, and now Roche will go the way of the Radiant. And we'll see what they can do after they take down the big boy.
Fisher was just too good from Earthshaker. Split off 3 heroes from 2 on Invasion. They cleaned them up. Sure, they lost the line end of the day, but still an amazing team fight for them. And hardly a scratch, no, not even a scratch on Chrissy or Jo after that fight. And the Shadow Fiend Siege Engine now has an Aegis in his inventory, and I think Rave can just start to look towards the high ground, no problem.
So Cheese goes the way of the Queen of Pain. Oh my. That Sonic Wave was on point from Chrissy, just connected on most of Invasion. You could see the way he positioned it to make sure he could finish off the Beastmaster before he'd be able to mech or do anything with the...
and managed to clip the Rubik and everybody else.
Very important that they kill the Beastmaster that quickly, as he is the mech carrier, as we've talked about, and he's sort of the key initiator for Invasion. You want to use that Primal Roar to get things started, and... Again, it seems to be the one weak point of Invasion, or maybe just something that Rave has been doing exceptionally well, but it seems like more often than not, Beastmaster is the first one to die on the Dire side.
Yeah, they have managed to find out Shaitan, but it's difficult because he doesn't have a Blink Dagger, and he doesn't have his Aghanim Scepter just yet, so he's trying to position himself such that he can follow up on a Bar Strike save, for example, but... that does put him in harm's way, and that does give the opportunity for all of these blinking heroes, I mean 4 of them in total, on Rave to go and hunt him down. And he's one of the Invasion's few answers against the BKBs as well for the time being. So, and yeah, well, it's not even 4 blinking heroes, it's 5 blinking heroes now, as Cast has picked up a Blink Dagger of his own, and yeah, life is now looking really miserable for the Beastmaster.
Yeah, definitely. And even though Rave haven't broke the high ground yet, it does feel like Invasion are in a little bit of a rocky place here. The Drow Ranger, who is comfortably #1 on net worth, is now #2, a fair bit behind Chrissy, and seems Rave are feeling confident here with all of their ultimates available. That newly fashioned Blink Dagger, they'll just start heading up towards the high ground. They'll do this with Aegis and Cheese, and this is the edge they've been waiting for. Or is it?
This creeps to hit, Andrew.
That's a fair point.
And I mean, like you were saying, there's no rush whatsoever for Raid. They've got Invasion totally bottled up inside of the base. They can farm wherever they want. They can finish whatever items that they want.
It's still hard though. I mean, Invasion. You pointed this out. They have a great high ground defense.
Yeah.
So
that's the other factor.
Even if Rave is 15, 20k net worth ahead, they still can't really just take a 5v5 and just charge up to the high ground. They're even 20. Yeah, there you go, 22k, and they still can't just charge up and take a 5v5 fight and expect
please buy an item. 7.8k gold. We are in Mushi territory right now.
Yeah, we're about there. What are you doing, Chrissy? Oh, takes a silence. Remember, he does have the cheese. Blinken's popped, BKB used, and he will just blink back. That's a BKB on cooldown. Something.
Yeah, this strikes me as really weird. I feel like you should just even buy an AC, and they can just go siege
Well, it's just ages. Ryo hopped in, one totem attack on the tower, and then backs out. So it's going to be a slow siege, I think, at this rate. Well, Invasion doing a good job hanging on here.
Yeah, still need to get through another minute and 40 seconds or so to completely wait out this Aegis, and I think Rave, realizing that, are probably going to start pressuring a little bit harder. But they're still split. They've got the Earthshaker down bottom lane, pushing in that lane, and I really just want to see them grouped up as 5 here.
I feel like Rave are playing this a bit too passively at this point, or maybe not realizing
they are playing ultra safe.
How far ahead they are. Almost too safe. It's not really giving Invasion that much right now, but if they wait for the Aegis to expire, I don't think they really want to wait out the next Roche before they try to siege the high ground.
I mean, they could. They've got total control of this game right now.
Jumping down. There we go. Chrissy follows up to drop the Rubik. These things starting to 5v4 for this fight to begin. The Sand King as well. Neither of them with a buyback. And this could be the end of the game as we know it. Now comes the overgrowth from Cass and the remaining 3 members of Invasion getting cleaned up. Finger onto the Dro Ranger. Shaitan gets dunked. And, yeah, Ryo hopping on in to bring down Slicks. Buyback from the Drow. Buyback from the Lesh. It's still a 5v2. An ultra kill for Chrissy. He's now in Mushi territory here, Kip. Over 10,000 gold, and they just won structures. Tier 3 in the mid lane, going down quickly. Jo gets stunned as Slicks flips forward for staff. Will keep him alive. Chrissy reinitiates here. Orchid comes out, but Gust will stop him dead in his tracks. Rave still haven't claimed any objectives off this, and the support's starting to respawn, but now Slicks dies. It's a die back there. Dro Ranger on the back foot. She gets slowed. No BKB available. Will stay alive. Gust on 2. Buyback from the Earthshaker on the Radiant. He'll try to get back into this fight. Still kind of this war of attrition as both sides are dancing around. Jo initiated on, but Chrissy hops in, brings down the Rubik once more. Dro Ranger still alive for now, and they still have all of their Tier 3 towers standing.
Just hit the buildings. I really don't get it from Rave here. I mean, there's... Okay, so you buy the Refresher Orb, you can still buy any item that you want. With
you can still buy a Rapier. I mean, this is...
man.
I do agree with you. I think an Assault Karas would make this a bit easier for Rave, just kind of in general here. And finally, they'll start getting some objectives. The Glyph is utilized as the Tier 3 and the mid goes down, and they are split pushing the top with that Queen of Pain, chipping away at that other low Tier 3 tower, which is just about to go down. Lesh still in the grave for another 30 seconds or so. They know he bought back here, so they will continue sieging with this advantage.
I mean, all I can think at this point is just stop. They're already dead. Like, I think at this point it's just a formality for Rave to close out the game, really.
Yep, I definitely agreed there. Chrissy will claim the top lane of Barracks. Boons comes in, connects with a stun, silence, but BKB will keep Chrissy alive for now. Drops the Sonic Wave, blinks across. There's your Refresher, second Sonic Wave. Beastmaster and Rubik dead straight away. And now Rave tightening that noose. They will find the victory. GG is called as Rave takes the first game, the opening match here of the TI5 Southeast Asian Qualifier.
I'm not even sure what to say. Just looked very convincing from Rave. Took the right fights at the right time, built up a lead, and never really let Invasion do what they wanted to do, which was get the ball rolling early, continue to get pickoffs, get aggressive vision over in the Radiant side of the map. I feel like the only times that we really saw the Dire make it into Radiant territory were the 1 or 2 ganks that dive mid, and otherwise it was just Rave controlling the tempo the whole way through.